chapters 1 through 16, the words of the blessing of Enoch, according to which he blessed the chosen and righteous, who must be present on the day of distress, which is appointed for the removal of all the wicked and impious. And Enoch took up his parable and said, There was a righteous man, whose eyes were opened by the Lord, and he saw a holy vision in the heavens, which the angel showed to me, and I heard everything from them. And I understood what I saw, but not for this generation, but for a distant generation that will come. Concerning the chosen I spoke, and I uttered a parable concerning them. The holy and great one will come out from his dwelling, and the eternal God will tread from there upon Mount Sinai, and he will appear with his host, and will appear in the strength of his power from heaven. And all will be afraid, and the watchers will shake, and fear and great trembling will seize them unto the ends of the earth. And the high mountains will be shaken, and the high hills will be made low, and will melt like wax in a flame. And the earth will sink, and everything that is on the earth will be destroyed, and there will be judgment upon all, and upon all the righteous. But for the righteous he will make peace, and he will keep safe the chosen, and mercy will be upon them. They will all belong to God, and will prosper and be blessed, and the light of God will shine upon them. And behold, he comes with 10,000 holy ones to execute judgment upon them, and to destroy the impious, and to contend with all flesh concerning everything that the sinners and the impious have said and done against him. Contemplate all the events in the sky, how the lights in the sky do not change their courses, how each rises and sets in order, each at its proper time, and they do not transgress their law. Consider the earth, and understand from the work that is done upon it, from the beginning to the end, that no work of God changes as it becomes manifest. Consider the summer and the winter, how the whole earth is full of water, and the clouds and dew and rain rest upon it. Contemplate and see how all the trees appear withered, and all their leaves are stripped, with the exception of the 14 trees which are not stripped, which remain with the old leaves until the new come after 2 or 3 years. And again, contemplate the days of summer, how at its beginning the sun is above it. You seek shelter and shade because of the heat of the sun, and the earth burns with a scorching heat, and you cannot tread upon the earth or upon a rock because of its heat. Contemplate how the trees are covered with green leaves and bear fruit, and understand in respect of everything, and perceive how he who lives forever made all these things for you, and how his works are before him in each succeeding year, and all his works serve him and do not change. But as God has decreed, so everything is done. And consider how the seas and rivers together complete their tasks. But you sinners, you have not persevered in, nor observed the law of the Lord, but you have transgressed, and have spoken proud and hard words with your unclean mouth against his majesty. You hard of heart, you will not have peace, and because of this you will curse your days, and the years of your life you will destroy, and the eternal curse will increase, and you will not receive mercy. In those days you will transform your name into an eternal curse to all the righteous, and they will curse you sinners forever. And for all you sinners there will be no salvation, but upon you all will rest a curse. For the chosen there will be light and joy and peace, and they will inherit the earth. But for you, the impious, there will be a curse. When wisdom is given to the chosen, they will all live, and will not again do wrong, either through forgetfulness or through pride. But those who possess wisdom will be humble. They will not again do wrong, and they will not be judged in all the days of their life, and they will not die of wrath or anger, but they will complete the number of the days of their life, and their life will grow in peace, and the years of their joy will increase in gladness and eternal peace all the days of their life. And it came to pass, when the sons of men had increased, that in those days there were born to them fair and beautiful daughters. And the angels, the sons of heaven, saw them and desired them. And they said to one another, Come, let us choose for ourselves wives from the children of men, and let us beget for ourselves children. And Shemyaza, who was their leader, said to them, I fear that you may not wish this deed to be done, and that I alone will pay for this great sin. And they all answered him and said, Let us all swear an oath, and bind one another with curses, so not to alter this plan, but to carry out this plan effectively. Then they all swore together, and all bound one another with curses to it. And they were, in all, 200, and they came down in the days of Jared, on the summit of Mount Hermon, and they called the mountain Hermon, because on it they swore, and bound one another with curses. And these are the names of their leaders: Shemyaza, who was their leader, Urakiba, Ramshel, Kokabel, Tamiel, Rabsamel, Daniel, Ezekiel, Barakel, Azazel, Armaros, Batriel, Ananel, Zakiel, Shemshiel, Shahariel, Toniel, Turiel, Yamiel, Zahariel. These are the leaders of the 200 angels, and of all the others with them. And they took wives for themselves, and everyone chose for himself, one each. And they began to go into them, and were promiscuous with them. And they taught them charms and spells, and they showed them the cutting of roots and trees. And they became pregnant and bore large giants, and their height was 3,000 cubits. These devoured the toil of all men, until men were unable to sustain them. And the giants turned against them and devoured men. And they began to sin against birds, and against animals, and against reptiles, and against fish. And they devoured one another's flesh, and drank the blood from it. Then the earth complained about the lawless ones. And Azazel taught men to make swords, and daggers, and shields, and breastplates. And he showed them the metals of the earth, and the art of working them, and gold and silver bracelets and ornaments, and the art of making up the eyes with antimony and eye paint, and of beautifying the face, and the most precious and choice stones, and all kinds of colored dyes. And the world was forever changed, and there was great impiety, and much fornication, and they went astray, and all their ways became corrupt. And furthermore, their leader, Shemyaza, taught spells against the mind, and the use of cut roots of plants, and Amara's magical skills, and the release of spells. And Barakel taught astrologers, and Kokabel portents of the stars, and Tamiel taught portents of the weather, and Shahariel taught the path of the moon. And they all began to reveal these mysteries to their wives and their children. And at the destruction on the earth, men cried out, and their voices reached heaven. And then Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel looked down from heaven, and saw the mass of blood that was being shed on the earth, and all the iniquity that was being done on the earth. And they said to one another, Let the devastated earth cry out with the sound of their cries unto the gate of heaven. And now to you, O holy ones of heaven, the souls of men complain, saying, Bring our complaint before the Most High. And they said to their Lord, the King, Lord of lords, God of gods, King of kings, your glorious throne endures for all the generations of the world, and your name is holy and praised for all generations of the world, and is blessed and praised. You have made everything, and power over everything is yours, and everything is uncovered and open in front of you, and you see everything, and there is nothing that can be hidden from you. See then what Azazel has done, how he has taught all iniquity on the earth, and revealed the eternal secrets which were made in heaven. And Shemyaza has made known spells, he to whom you gave authority to rule over those who are with him. And they went into the daughters of men together, lay with those women, became unclean, and revealed to them these sins. And the women bore giants, and thereby the whole earth has been filled with blood and iniquity. And now behold, the souls which have died cry out and complain unto the gate of heaven, and their lament has ascended, and they cannot go out in the face of the iniquity which is being committed on the earth. And you know everything before it happens, and you know this, and what concerns each of them. But you say nothing to us. What ought we to do with them about this? And then the Most High, the Great and Holy One, spoke, and sent Uriel to the son of Lamech, and said to him, Say to him, in my name, hide yourself, and reveal to him the end which is coming, because the whole earth will be destroyed. A deluge is about to come on all the earth, and what is in it will be destroyed. And now teach him, so that he may escape, and his offspring may survive for the whole earth. And further, the Lord said to Raphael, Bind Azazel by his hands and his feet, and throw him into the darkness, and split open the desert which is in Dudael, and throw him there, and throw on him jagged and sharp stones, and cover him with darkness, and let him stay there forever, and cover his face so that he may not see the light, and so that on the great day of judgment he may be hurled into the fire, and restore the earth which the angels have ruined, and announce the restoration of the earth. For I shall restore the earth, so that not all the sons of men shall be destroyed through the mystery of everything which the watchers made known, and taught to their sons. And the whole earth has been ruined by the teaching of the works of Azazel, and against him write down all sin. And the Lord said to Gabriel, Proceed against the bastards, and the reprobates, and against the sons of the fornicators, and destroy the sons of the fornicators, and the sons of the watchers from amongst men, and send them out, and send them against one another, and let them destroy themselves in battle, for they will not have length of days, and they will all petition you, but their fathers will gain nothing in respect of them, for they hope for eternal life, and that each of them will live life for 500 years. And the Lord said to Michael, Go, inform Shemyaza and the others with him who have associated with the women to corrupt themselves with them in all their uncleanness, when all their sons kill each other, and when they see the destruction of their beloved ones, bind them for 70 generations under the hills of the earth, until the day of their judgment and of their consummation, until the judgment which is for all eternity is accomplished. And in those days they will lead them to the abyss of fire, in torment, and in prison they will be shut up for all eternity. And then Shemyaza will be burnt, and from then on destroyed with them. Together they will be bound until the end of all generations, and destroy all the souls of lust and the sons of the watchers, for they have wronged men. Destroy all wrong from the face of the earth, and every evil work will cease. And let the plant of righteousness and truth appear, and the deed will become a blessing. Righteousness and truth will they plant in joy forever. And now all the righteous will be humble, and will live until they beget thousands, and all the days of their youth and their Sabbaths they will fulfill in peace. And in those days the whole earth will be tilled in righteousness, and all of it will be planted with trees, and it will be filled with blessing, and all the pleasant trees they will plant on it, and they will plant on it vines, and the vine that is planted on it will produce fruit in abundance, and every seed that is sown on it, each measure will produce 1,000, and each measure of olives will produce 10 baths of oil. And you cleanse the earth from all wrong, and from all iniquity, and from all sin, and from all impiety, and from all the uncleanness which is brought about on the earth. Remove them from the earth, and all the sons of men shall be righteous, and all the nations shall serve and bless me, and all shall worship me, and the earth will be cleansed from all corruption, and from all sin, and from all wrath, and from all torment, and I will not again send a flood upon it for all generations forever. And in those days I will open the storehouses of blessing which are in heaven, so that I may send them down upon the earth, upon the work, and upon the toil of the sons of men. Peace and truth will be united for all the days of eternity, and for all the generations of eternity. And from everything Enoch had been hidden, and none of the sons of men knew where he was hidden, or where he was, or what had happened. And all his doings were with the holy ones, and with the watchers in his days. And I, Enoch, was blessing the great Lord and the King of eternity. And behold, the watchers called to me, Enoch the scribe, and said to me, Enoch, scribe of righteousness, go and inform the watchers of heaven, who have left the high heaven and the sanctuary of the eternal covenant, and have corrupted themselves with the women, and have done as the sons of men do, and have taken wives for themselves, and have become completely corrupt on the earth. They will have on earth neither peace nor forgiveness of sin, for they will not rejoice in their sons. The slaughter of their beloved ones they will see, and over the destruction of their sons they will lament and petition forever. But they will have neither mercy nor peace. And Enoch went and said to Azazel, you will not have peace. A severe sentence has come out against you, that you should be bound, and you will have neither rest nor mercy, nor the granting of any petitions, because of the wrong which you have taught, and because of all the works of blasphemy, and wrong, and sin, which you have shown to the sons of men. And then I went and spoke to them all together, and they were all afraid. Fear and trembling seized them, and they asked me to write out for them the record of a petition, so that they might receive forgiveness, and to take a record of their petition up to the Lord in heaven. For they were not able from then on to speak, and they did not raise their eyes to heaven, out of shame for the sins for which they had been condemned. And then I wrote out the record of their petition, and their supplication, in regard to themselves, and the deeds of each one of them, and in regard to what they asked, that they should obtain absolution and length of days. And I went and sat down by the waters of Dan, in Dan, which is southwest of Hermon, and I read out the record of their petition until I fell asleep. And behold, a dream came to me, and visions fell upon me, and I saw a vision of wrath, that I should speak to the sons of heaven, and reprove them. And I woke up, and went to them, and they were all sitting gathered together, as they mourned, in Ubal Seel, which is between Lebanon and Sinir, with their faces covered. And I spoke in front of them all the visions that I had seen in my sleep, and I began to speak these words of righteousness, and to reprove the watchers of heaven. This book is the word of righteousness, and of reproof for the watchers who are from eternity, as the Holy and Great One commanded in that vision. I saw in my sleep what I will now tell, with the tongue of flesh, and with my breath, which the Great One has given men in the mouth, so that they might speak with it, and understand with the heart, as he has created and appointed men to understand the word of knowledge, so he created and appointed me to reprove the watchers, the sons of heaven. And I wrote out your petition, but in my vision thus it appeared that your petition would not be granted to you for all the days of eternity, and complete judgment has been decreed against you, and you will not have peace. And from now on you will not ascend into heaven for all eternity, and it has been decreed that you are to be bound in the earth for all the days of eternity. And before this you will have seen the destruction of your beloved sons, and you will not be able to enjoy them, but they will fall before you by the sword, and your petition will not be granted in respect of them, or in respect of yourselves. And while you weep and supplicate, you do not speak a single word from the writing which I have written. And the vision appeared to me as follows. Behold, clouds called me in the vision, and mist called me, and the path of the stars and flashes of lightning hastened me and drove me, and in the vision winds caused me to fly, and hastened me, and lifted me up into heaven. And I proceeded until I came near a wall, which was made of hailstones, and a tongue of fire surrounded it, and it began to make me afraid. And I went into the tongue of fire, and came near to a large house which was built of hailstones, and the wall of that house was like a mosaic of hailstones, and its floor was snow. Its roof was like the path of the stars, and flashes of lightning, and among them were fiery cherubim, and their sky was like water, and there was a fire burning around its wall, and its door was ablaze with fire. And I went into that house, and it was as hot as fire, and as cold as snow, and there was neither pleasure nor life in it. Fear covered me, and trembling took hold of me. And as I was shaking and trembling, I fell on my face, and I saw in the vision, and behold, another house, which was larger than the former, and all its doors were open before me, and it was built of a tongue of fire. And in everything it so excelled in glory and splendor and size, so that I am unable to describe to you its glory and its size. And its floor was fire, and above lightning and the path of the stars, and its roof also was a burning fire. And I looked, and I saw in it a high throne, and its appearance was like ice, and its surrounds like the shining sun, and the sound of cherubim. And from underneath the high throne there flowed out rivers of burning fire, so that it was impossible to look at it. And he who is great in glory sat upon it, and his raiment was brighter than the sun, and whiter than any snow. And no angel could enter, and at the appearance of the face of him who is honored and praised, no creature of flesh could look. A sea of fire burnt around him, and a great fire stood in front of him, and none of those around him came near to him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him, but he needed no holy counsel, and the holy ones who were near to him did not leave by night or day, and did not depart from him. And until then I had been prostrate on my face as I trembled. And the Lord called me with his own mouth, and said to me, Come here, Enoch, to my holy word. And he lifted me up and brought me near to the door, and I looked with my face down. And he answered me and said to me with his voice, Hear, do not be afraid, Enoch, you righteous man, and scribe of righteousness. Come here and hear my voice, and go say to the watchers of heaven, who sent you to petition on their behalf. You are to petition on behalf of men, not men on behalf of you. Why have you left the high, holy, and eternal heaven, and lain with the women, and become unclean with the daughters of men, and taken wives for yourselves, and done as the sons of the earth, and begotten giant sons? And you were spiritual, holy, living an eternal life, but you became unclean upon the women, and begat children through the blood of flesh, and lusted after the blood of men, and produced flesh and blood, as they do who die and are destroyed. And for this reason I give men wives, so that they might sow seed in them, and so that children might be born by them, so that deeds might be done on the earth. But you formerly were spiritual, living an eternal, immortal life for all the generations of the world. For this reason I did not arrange wives for you, because the dwelling of the spiritual ones is in heaven. And now the giants, who were born from body and flesh, will be called evil spirits on the earth, and on the earth will be their dwelling. And evil spirits came out from their flesh, because from above they were created. From the holy watchers was their origin and first foundation. Evil spirits they will be on earth, and spirits of the evil ones they will be called. And the dwelling of the spirits of heaven is heaven, but the dwelling of the spirits of the earth, who were born on the earth, is earth. And the spirits of the giants do wrong, are corrupt, and attack, and fight, and break on the earth, and cause sorrow. And they eat no food, do not thirst, and are not observed, And these spirits will rise against the sons of men and against the women, because they came out of them in the days of slaughter and destruction, and the death of the giants. Wherever the spirits have gone out from their bodies, their flesh will be destroyed before the judgment. Thus they will be destroyed until the day of the great consummation is accomplished, upon the great age, and upon the watchers and the impious ones. And now, to the watchers, who sent you to petition on their behalf, who were formerly in heaven. You were in heaven, but its secrets had not yet been revealed to you, and a worthless mystery you knew. This you made known to women, in the hardness of your hearts. And through this mystery, the women and the men cause evil to increase on the earth. Say to them, therefore, you will not have peace.